Happy Camper Radio starts in 3, 2, 1. It is so good to be back with you. Hello, my friends. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and this is the Happy Camper Radio Show. I have got a great topic of discussion here for you today, and this is something I just drummed up this past week because I know there was a time in my life, and just like in yours as well, that you decided that you were going to go camping for the very first time. Have you ever met somebody in your life, whether young or old, that wanted to go down that path? And you know as well as I do that when you decide that you're going to go camping for the very first time and you get out there and you experience nature, you experience what it's like to be around friends and meet new friends and attend some of these camping events, that you wish in the back of your mind you would have done it earlier in life. Everybody thinks that, including myself. But there are folks who kind of watch us and see what we do. It may be our neighbors, it may be close friends, and you start talking about your camping experience. And they begin to wonder, wow, maybe that's an interesting thing to get involved in. But they never took that first step. Well, you know, we all experienced that right from the very beginning, and we knew that in order to go camping, we had to have some camping gear. And if we didn't have any camping gear, we were pretty much out of luck. For some people, with the economy being like it is, it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to come up with the necessary funds to build a half-decent camping supply in order for them to go out. On today's show, I'm going to share with you something that you can share with those individuals in your life. And I would highly recommend that you go ahead and download today's show and pass it on to them, not only for the purpose of introducing them to Happy Camper Radio, but I'm going to show these newcomers today what it would be like to begin their camping venture with almost no out-of-pocket expense or something very minimal. I'll tell you all about it on today's show. Our phone number here is 404-537-CAMP. That's 404-537-2267. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, add us to Circles on Google+, and now subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel. It's very simple to do. All you've got to do is check out our website, www.happycamperradio.com. All the social media icons are right there on the homepage over in the right-hand side in the sidebar. And just go ahead, click on any one of them, and it'll connect you right to us. And the neat thing about the YouTube channel, and more people are getting in tune with this, is the fact that on those cold winter nights that you know you're not going to be camping, but you're going to be gathered with your loved ones in the comfort of your living room, you've got the fire going, you can actually turn the Happy Camper Radio on right there at your home entertainment center, and it's almost like being at camp. Wow, we have got some shout-outs today, some newcomers who logged on this past week, and we want to take time to recognize them and welcome them aboard. First of all, to Alan Weiner of Nevada, RV and Auto Parts of Phoenix, Arizona. They like us on Facebook. Saying hello to Lori and Scott, to Ashes Caravan Park in the UK, All Valley RV Center, and Acton LA North KOA from Acton, California. We say hello to Jay Nault of Delaware Water Gap KOA, Janet Green, Julian Miguel, Jim Ames, Stephen C. Rose of New York City. They're all following us on Twitter. And finally, to Melissa Pop of Denver, Colorado, Verbenlich Outdoors of Mountain View, California, and Camp Lord Willing, I like that name, of Monroe, Michigan. They added us to Circles this past week on Google+. Thank you all so very much. We are so delighted to have you and welcome you aboard this great Happy Camper Radio family. Hey, would you like to be a guest on our program? Every now and then, we bring folks on, and the next guest could be you. How about getting in touch with me? Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com. And the best thing for you to really do is sign up for a Google Plus account if you don't already have one. And once you get signed on board, and it's absolutely free, make sure you add Happy Camper Radio to your circles, and definitely we will add you back. Now, starting a camping venture with little or no cash. Let me step back a little bit here. I'm going to go back maybe about 25, 26 years ago. And it's amazing how when we get up there in our ages, we can still retain some memory from what it was like in the past. Back then, there was a part of my life where I had ventured off the beaten path, so to speak. I was in a particular position in my life where really I wasn't camping at that point. I didn't have any camping gear. And one day, a friend of mine at work said, hey, in a few weeks from now, we're going to be camping up in the mountains. How would you like to come with us? And it was an invitation I just could not pass up. And I knew in the back of my mind I didn't have any camping gear, and I didn't think I was going to be able to afford any before that trip. But I was just determined that I was going to go camping, and nothing was going to stand in my way. So I made it a point to join them on the trip. Here's one thing I had in my advantage. Everybody there was going to be equipped in one way, shape, or form, and the meals were already going to be taken care of by the camp coordinator. This was somebody who was going to bring all of the camping equipment, all of the kitchen supplies, the coolers, the food, everything. All we had to do is chip in a certain amount of money, which they would determine on the last day that everybody needed to come up with to pay for the meals. Now, they covered Friday night dinner, Saturday morning breakfast, and Saturday night dinner. Anything left over would be available for Sunday morning when we broke camp. Anything else in between, you were on your own. So I knew my meals were going to be taken care of. But I lacked a sleeping bag, I lacked a tent, and we were going to be going on this trip in mid-November. Now keep in mind that this is going to be the southeast section of the United States, and regardless of where you live in this country, some people get the impression, well, if you live in the South, it's a lot warmer down there than it is up here. Well, true in some cases, but we get some nasty winters here in the Southeast. We get some very cold temperatures. I knew it was going to be extremely cold in this section of the country that I was going to be camping in, and I was going to be entertaining and being entertained by a lot of people that I knew from work. But here again, I did not have camping equipment with me. So I had to figure out, what am I going to do to survive these 3 days up there in those kind of temperatures? Fortunately for me, I have always had a truck, and I had no problem driving down this old dirt road to get to the campsite. But again, like I says, I had no tent and no sleeping bag. So what I did is I compromised a bit. I went and I dug out this old Arctic hunting outfit that I hadn't used in years, but it was for sure going to keep me extremely warm in the temperatures that I was about to engage in. What I ended up doing is I ended up sleeping in the bed of my pickup truck with no bedding. I was sleeping on a metal bed. Yes, the bed of the pickup truck. The spare tire that was in the back of the pickup truck was my pillow. And of course, I had a hoodie on top of this too, so I wasn't putting the back of my head on top of this tire. And fortunately for me, I had a cap on the back of the pickup truck, which would keep the elements of winter away from me. Now, we did not have any snow. We did not have any rain. Knock on wood there. But it was not the best sleeping environment, while everybody else there at camp either had a pop-up camper or they had a tent. Now, I do remember one guy sleeping in his van, and that's okay too. But if you want to go camping, you definitely want to go prepared. And if you haven't done it in a while, and you certainly are in a position where you want to do this now, but you just don't have the things that you need, then you're going to make do with what you have. And in that particular instance, yes, I did. But now today, you don't have to do that. because the price of camping gear is so inexpensive. And if I would have known back then what I know today, then I think I would have been in a little bit better shape. The only difference is, back then, there was no such thing as the internet. There were no cell phones, if I can remember correctly, and I think maybe I had a pager back in those days, but that wasn't going to do me any good. But today, you can buy a lot of your gear online, have it delivered to your home, and you can have that equipment in your possession in time for your next camping trip. And the neat part about buying online, folks, is a lot of the equipment that you can buy carries free shipping charges. All right, so it's not going to cost you a dime for shipping. And you'll find that the items that you can buy online may be, in some cases, a little bit cheaper than what you will find in the store. You know, there's a lot of ways you can go shopping. I am a big believer in the big box stores. I do like places like Bass Pro Sports Shop, Cabela's, Academy Sports. A lot of these places, I walk in there and I think I am in heaven. And it's hard to get me out of those places. And even though I am an online shopper, I do like to patronize those businesses because that's why they're there. And if you've never been in one of those stores, definitely take the time to go inside and browse around. You get drawn into the atmosphere each and every time. Now, talking about the price of camping gear, it can be inexpensive or costly as you wish to make it. Some people do spend enormous amounts of money on gear, and in a lot of cases, they don't have to do that. This is one problem I have, and I am an experienced camper. I don't have all the answers to everything. I've made that point several times down the road. I'm just an average guy. I'm an average camper. I just have a radio show that focuses on this subject matter, and I enjoy coming here behind the microphone every week and enjoy talking about it. People can spend a whole lot of money, but if you are somebody or you know somebody who wants to start their camping journey and they only have a shoestring budget, well, we're going to tell you what you can do to make life a little bit easier for you and maybe get that gear in your possession with little or no money at all. Now, like any purchase, you get what you pay for. The good news is that most camping gear is built to last. How long will it last? Well, how well are you going to take care of it? Keep in mind that the elements of winter and the rain and the snow and everything else is going to play a role in how long your camping equipment is going to last. Naturally, if you're going out winter camping every year, you're going to decrease the life of your gear. You want to take care of it. If you take care of it, it's going to take care of you. If you have youngsters that like to run around and they like to play, and there's nothing wrong with that at all, when they get to the campground, if they have big open spaces, sure, they're going to let their hair down and they're going to have a blast. But you also got to educate your kids that playing around the tent is not cool. That's not the place to enjoy yourself. A lot of these campgrounds do have playgrounds. Turn them loose there, but don't let them be running around that tent because the next thing you know, someone's going to fall into it. Depending upon the quality of a tent that you get, they may crash right through it. They may tear it, and that tent's only going to last you 1 year. You don't want that, okay? So you want to make sure that you take good care of your camping equipment. Just educate your kids that playing inside and outside around the tent is not cool. What makes camping more expensive for some? Well, buying more than just the basics. Here I am when I go to camp. I carry a lot of gear. If you've looked on social media already, you have seen that I carry a whole truckload of stuff to the campground. That's just me. This is stuff that I have built up over the years. And a lot of people do tell me, and I've got to sit back and agree with them. Of course, I'm not going to argue with them. I don't get into arguments at camp. I'm there to have fun. But some folks do say to me, hey, Skip, you're bringing a whole lot of stuff here that you're not going to use. And yeah, you're right in a way. But I like it. It's mine. It's my stuff. And I enjoy setting it up, and I enjoy being around this type of a camping environment. At the same time, even though I may have all these things that I carry with me, and if I don't have a companion with me at the time, I'll be camping by myself, yet I am still on the lookout for new things. If I'm at a public campground, if I'm around campers, individuals who I have now come in contact with, who I have made friends with, I will see what they are doing. What do they have set up at their campsite? Do they have something that I am going to get excited about, and I'm going to end up seeing something to say, wow, that is so cool. I've just got to have that. And the next thing you know, I'm heading on home. I'm packing my equipment away. I'm getting online, and I am buying something similar or exactly like what I saw a fellow camper have there at the campground. That's just me. It does happen sometimes. It really gets in your blood. And you got to be careful with that, because sometimes you can get a little bit carried away. And next thing you know, you're buying things that you really are not going to ever use, but you want to have it. It's almost like collecting baseball cards in a way. You just can't have enough of it. But a number of people in your camping party will determine how much equipment you are going to buy. I find myself sometimes wanting to buy bigger gear. If you've been on our website, happycamperradio.com, and looked at some of the photographs that I have there under the Camping Pics tab at the top of the page, you will see that I have a tent that's pretty much suited for me, a one-person camping party. This tent will sleep about 4 to 5 people, but yet I am ready to retire this tent and get something a little bit bigger, because as big as I am, 6'4", I do want to have the room to stretch. I do want to have the room to stand up in a tent. Some people don't have that luxury. It's a luxury that I do want to have. So, it really depends on how many people are going to be in your camping party, and that will determine how much gear and how big of a tent you are going to buy. Now, let's focus here on the single camper for a moment. If you've never camped before but would love to go, no one wants to camp by themselves. You're going to find that in a lot of cases, especially the first-time camper. They're going to want to be with somebody, and a lot of times you're not going to really have any fun unless you get out there and be around some folks. Have I camped by myself before? Yes, I have. Have I had fun doing it? I did, but I don't think I would want to do it all the time. It's always good to have some companions, some friends to sit around the campfire with, especially people you know, or maybe somebody you don't know but may want to get to know. The campfire environment is the perfect place for that. Now, you want to go camping with a group of friends. Yes, I try to do that any opportunity I get. But if you have no gear, where do you start? Well, first you want to do is you want to prepare a list of things that you know you're going to need for your very first trip. Let's start by looking at the basics and go from there. All right, here's some things that you should consider as the bare bones minimum for your very first camping trip. You definitely are going to need a tent. In all cases, I don't care what type of environment you are in, whether it be winter, summer, fall, or spring, you're going to want to have a ground tarp in place to put your tent on. And you can buy them just about anywhere. A hardware store, you can buy them online too, but even your local Walmart store will carry those. You're going to want to have a mat to place your sleeping bag on. That is a must. And you're going to want to have a sleeping bag and, of course, a camp stove. That may be optional depending upon whether your party is going to be planning a big get-together, and they're going to have a cookout, and they're going to have a lot of camping equipment in place that you will not need because they will be bringing it along, just like I was talking about here at the very start of the show. If friends are going to be camping, then definitely keep that in mind. It's something you may not need for your very first trip. But I'm going to tell you about an optional camp stove that might get you started, something that I have, and it's not very expensive at all. If friends are going to be camping, consider tagging along, because this is going to save money on gas. Feel free to share the fuel expense. No one's going to fault you for having less than everybody else is. All right, nobody is going to look down upon you at the campground. That is one environment where you're not going to have that problem. People, because they have been camping for years and have had a lot of equipment, and they have been doing it for a long time, see you as the first-time camper, they're not going to stand off in the corner and make snide remarks behind your back or anything like that. No, you're going to be welcomed aboard. That's just the way it is. That's just the environment that you're going to be in, and that's just the nature of people who camp. My wintertime camping trip with no gear, like I says, it was rough, because sleeping in the back of that truck with an Arctic outfit on, no pillow, no blanket, and sleeping on the metal bed of a truck. It was no fun. There were a couple times there throughout the night where I just got a little bit too cold and I had to climb in the cab of the truck and I had to start the engine and warm up. But when you're that determined that you're going to go camping, nothing will stand in your way. Did I learn something by that? Yes, I did. The following year, I was more equipped than anybody else was because I was ready to get back into it. Here's some other things you might want to keep in mind, too, okay? You can ask to borrow some of the camp kitchen appliances. You know, you might want to bring your own pots and pans and utensils from home just because they sell these online and in the store in the camping supply aisle does not necessarily mean that you have to go out and buy them because they look like and they have the feel of a camping trip. Don't be ashamed to bring your own utensils and pots from home. I do that to this very day. Here's something else you might want to consider if you don't want to go out and buy a stove, a camp stove right from the very beginning. Consider cooking over an open flame. You're going to have a campfire at your campsite, so definitely take the time to make use of that and think of a neat way that you can prepare your meal and have a hot meal right there at camp. What if you don't have a camping chair? What if you can't afford one, even though they are pretty affordable? Feel free to borrow one or maybe sit on a log. That's what I did my first year. Yeah, a lot of folks had camping chairs. They had camping recliners, and I just made use of a log that was right there by the fire. You don't need a whole lot of money to start having fun. Let me tell you how you can get started for under $100. Begin your shopping venture online. Almost everybody has a computer today. Don't overlook some of the businesses, of course, that we've partnered with. Go to our homepage, www.happycamperradio.com, and there are some neat businesses there. We signed up as affiliates. Feel free to browse their online catalog, and keep in mind, too, that any time that you make a purchase, that you help to support this great Happy Camper Radio show. So you can do your online shopping just by going to our homepage. But here's another place you might want to take a look at, Amazon.com. Have you ever bought from Amazon? A lot of folks do, not just for camping equipment, but for, just some everyday general things. And you will find some great deals online. Take, for example, I spotted today, just before I started the show, there was, and put this here in the search engine when you log on, put in tents. And you will find right there, almost at the top of the page, there is this neat Coleman tent. It is a Sundome 2. It's a 7x5 tent. It sleeps 2 people, and it's available for $29.69. Wow. That's not the biggest tent, but if it's going to be you and you're going to be camping for the first time with some friends, this might be a great starter tent for you. Here's something else to look at, too. If you want to get a sleeping bag, something maybe rated in the 40 to 60 degree range, you can pick one of those up for $20.99. And you definitely want a sleeping mat, like I told you, something that's going to be the barrier between the ground and you while you are sleeping. Definitely pick up a mat. You can get one of them in your local Walmart store or local department store. You can get it online here. I found one there for just a little over $13. Let's talk about that camp stove here for a moment. The one I am using right now, the one I rave about, is a butane stove. It is small, it is compact, it fits in a small case. You can open it and close it, set it up shop in just a matter of seconds. The only thing is you've got to stock up on those butane canisters. I think you can buy them online too, if I remember correctly. I don't know if there's going to be any additional shipping charges as a result of those, because I know there are sometimes these dangerous fuel fees and things that, they all of a sudden pop up. But, if you look around, I can tell you this Academy Sports Store that's not very far from where I live. They had a bunch of them up here the last time I went into that store, and I think I walked away with maybe 8 or 10 of them. I got my eye on those, so anytime that I'm out, I always make sure that I have an extra supply, and you can get about 3 or 4 good meals out of each canister, which resembles a hairspray can, and that just simply slides into this stove. You close the lid, and a lot of them have self-ignitions on them, too. You just push all the way down on the button, and it lights your stove. It is just so neat. And you could pick one of those butane stoves up for about $19. That's not bad at all. So, you can look at everything I just went over here, roughly about $100 to get you started. But what if you don't have $100 and you still want to go camping? Here's something else to think about. When was the last time you upgraded your cell phone? Maybe you don't want to be in a contract, or maybe you want to go ahead and get that new phone that you've been looking for, and depending upon your carrier, they may be offering some great rebates. I'll tell you one I just got this past week. I got a brand new phone, and it's not for me, it's for somebody else in the household, but that's it's under my name. So I went ahead and I got that phone and got a $100 rebate with it. They're going to be sending me this $100 rebate in the mail. It's going to come in the form of a gift card. And if I was a first-time camper and looking to go out and go camping and I had no gear, this would be a great way to spend $100 out of the cell phone company's pocket, not out of yours. And here you got yourself a starter kit. You've got yourself a situation where you can now go camping with some friends to get yourself started. And by next year, after you've been out there and enjoyed it for the very first time, it's going to be in your blood. And you're going to want to go camping from there on out. And you're going to maybe spend $1 here to, buying some new gear. Maybe you're going to buy that recliner that you wanted. You're going to buy that fancy camping chair that you saw somebody else had. You may buy a lantern or a couple tiki torches to add to your supply. Yeah, so, next time that you decide you're going to go camping, you're going to have all the gear you need. And you may have enough gear to invite a friend along to share the experience. It's time now for our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. Okay, weather may not be the very best this time of year in the state of Mississippi, but I found a campground that is open all year long. Their season runs all the way through December 31st of 2015. It is Clear Creek, and it's part of the Sardis Lake run by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. If you like water sports, if you like being around fishermen, if you like boating, if you like swimming, then this is a great campground for you to consider. They have a lot of active water sports going on there, most likely during the summer months, but, right now is a great time that you can begin planning. Sardis Lake covers 98,000 acres in the rolling hills of northwestern Mississippi. It's a man-made lake, and it sits at approximately 400 feet in elevation. The campground is very forested with bottomland hardwoods. Take a look at everything that they have available. It's going to be on our homepage all week long under the featured campground section. You can click on that and look at all the details. Now, while the campground is not directly on the water, it is within a short distance of a drive to this swimming beach and the boat ramp. They have 52 sites with electrical hookups. Some are equipped with water hookups, flush toilets, showers, drinking waters provided, and younger campers really love the park's playground. So if you've got youngsters that you want to take out camping, this is a great campground to consider. Also know before you go, make sure that you check out the general park rules. They're right there. The link to it's right on the website. And remember, don't move firewood. Purchase your firewood locally. Plan it for this summer. If you're looking for a great place to go camping, it's Clear Creek in Mississippi, and it is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And as always, if you have a campground that you would like for us to feature on the program, definitely get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com. Make sure you include a link to the campground's website so we can share it with everybody who, like yourself, may have been there or may not have been there, would like to go. A lot of great campgrounds out in this world for us to enjoy. Nature is what it's all about. All we've got to do is take part in it. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. This is episode 98. Episode 99 is coming up in a week from now, and then we have a really big episode, our 100th episode in just 2 weeks. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. And no question about it, my friends, stick around and I will make a happy camper out of you. See you next week. This is Happy Camper Radio.